What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Let's get right into it. Here to bring you a discussion video on NFL players who have underperformed so far throughout this season. Only been 4 weeks. Not really a big deal right now, but these guys are on track to really really have a down season. So they need to step it up. They need to get better, get healthy if there is something going on, get mentally ready, and get back into the game because these guys aren't really performing for their team. Some on new teams, some on new deals, and some, supposed to have breakout seasons this year. Let's get into the list, guys. So, as we see, Garrett Wilson on the thumbnail, we will start with Garrett Wilson. And I'm not really a stats channel, obviously, stats free sports. You can see it from the film as well, but we're going to throw in some stats in there for this video. I don't love stats. That's why the channel was created, but stats will help in this instance. Stats does not lie. The tape and the stats don't lie. And there is some, like I said, there is some stats that lie a little bit in these things because like another guy on this list, you know, big plays get called back all the time. So touchdowns, big yardage, deep plays, deep catches, stuff like that. Those do get brought back. Flags, illegal shifts, stuff like that. So they have made some of these guys on the list have made bigger plays. Like one I must mention yesterday's game Sunday, Browns versus who the Browns? I forgot who Browns versus Raiders. We do have a Browns player on this list, and they had a big 60, 50, 60 yard touchdown brought back. So stuff like that changes the narrative a little bit, but overall, even with that included, they still are kind of struggling. But let's start with Garrett Wilson first. Garrett Wilson, the young stud, or so we thought, so we think, for the New York Jets. New York, Jets. I'm about to say Giants so bad. The New York Jets. This year, most of everyone, including myself, most of us thought that Rodgers fully healthy now. At least he's back. Garrett Wilson, a young stud, going into year three, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, year three. This should be the year Wilson turns up. This should be the year that Wilson turns into Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams in the Green Bay days. And so far, through 4 weeks, 20 receptions, 191 yards, 9.6 yards per catch. Longest catch, 26 yards, only one touchdown. That's not going to cut it. That's through 4 games. He has not been the best or the most reliable receiver, I should say, for Aaron Rodgers. The best has been his old former reliable guy in Alan Lazard, formerly of the Packers, now with the Jets, has been for the last couple of years. He's been the guy that Rodgers relies on the most. So that surprises me, and I made some good money off of Alan Lazard so far this year, betting wise, because I figured he would get more PT, he'll be in the mix more, but I didn't think it'll be that much to where he's still the number one receiver for Aaron Rodgers. That's surprising to me. So, Garrett Wilson, I do expect him to step up. Hopefully, everyone thought he would be the number one receiver for Rodgers, but so far through 4 weeks, not quite yet. So, Garrett Wilson's on his list for underperforming so far. Next, we have a big acquisition from this past free agency. Gabe Davis, formerly of the Bills, now with the struggling Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 0-4. He has, through 4 games, 9 catches, 121 yards, no touchdowns, and 13.4 yards per catch. That is awful. That is god awful by a big acquisition in Gabe Davis. For one, I didn't love the fit of him going to the Jags. I said that. They have a bunch of the same guys. Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk. Different sizes, different heights, different weights, but they're all similar players. I didn't love it. I truly didn't love it. I said it back then. I said now I think Gabe Davis should have went to the Giants. And that's kind of the same vein too. He's not that much different than Darius Slayton, Wanda Robinson, Hyatt, those guys. But he would have helped out in my opinion, obviously. And I think they'll move on with Slayton too. But I had a bunch more situations that were better for Gabe Davis than the Jaguars, and it's showing this ugly head right now. That like dog, the whole team is struggling. Trevor Lawrence could be on this list easily. Got paid all that money and looking like trash. But Gabe Davis is the one I settled on, and he just hasn't been good at all. He's kind of his luster kind of been taken from Brian Thomas Jr. And that's what I was saying. You drafted him, you still brought in Gabe. Well, Gabe came first. Then you drafted him. Like, you have Kirk still and Ingram. You know, they're all not the same guy, but they give you not Ingram tight end, but they all give you the same feel of player. So it's like I didn't never understand bringing in Gabe and then still drafting Thomas. You know, kind of tough, but that's what they did, and that's what they're showing right now. That they're just not a great team chemistry wise, and it's showing on film. It's showing on game day. So tough road ahead for the Jags. Obviously, everyone expects Doug Peterson to be let go sometime soon, probably after this upcoming London trip they have. I think Germany, whatever they're playing at, 2 games back to back as they did last year. If they lose one or two or both, I think there's no chance he comes back in the Doug Peterson come back in America as the head coach of the Jaguars. But we'll see. We'll see. But as of right now, Gabe Davis is not performing up to his contract status that he received this offseason. Next, another guy on a new team that was supposed to make waves. And this one to me is kind of tricky, you know, and that's Bryce Huff from the Eagles. Bryce Huff plays for the Eagles, formerly of the Jets. And Bryce Huff was not a starter for the Jets at all. He was a rotational guy that got some good PT in and made some good stuff happen. Now he's a starter. He's being relied upon to or being asked to make more plays on a consistent basis as being the main guy, and some guys just can't do it. Can he turn the light switch on? Can he get better? Can he get more consistent as possible? It's early, only 4 weeks, but as of right now, one solo tackle, no sacks, no forced fumble. That's it for the for the 4 games that he's played. It's tough. It's tough. You know, should the Eagles have just kept Hassan Reddick? That's a big question. He's not on this list. I wanted to so bad. I thought it would be so obvious. So he's not on this list. He hasn't even played. But and Will McDonald has been playing well. But Bryce Huff and Hassan Reddick both should be on this list. But like I said, I left Hassan Reddick off. But Huff has not performed up to his hype, up to the contract. And the question is, did they pay him too early? Or did they pay him, or did they get him and should have just kept Reddick? Because Reddick, if he was stayed and got paid, odds are he would have been playing better than what Bryce Huff is. Most likely, if he was playing and happy with his contract, he would have been playing better than what Huff has been playing so far. So that's tough there for the Eagles. Next up, this hit home for me personally, and this is the 4th year doing this mess, and 3rd or 4th year, and we're still on the same talk. My guy, my tight end, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is back up here once again. Excuse me, on my underperforming list. Kyle Pitts, 8 receptions, 105 yards, 13 yards per catch. The longest was 50 yards and 1 touchdown. That first touchdown came week 1 versus the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken. He's just still not incorporated in the offense. Still can't get open. And it's tough. I fought against my fellow Falcons fans this offseason because I was saying I don't mind paying Pitts, right? And they were telling me, let's trade Pitts. I'm like, are y'all crazy? Y'all might be onto something. We might have to let Pitts walk, man, because, I felt emboldened when Kirk Cousins came in and said, "Yeah, Pitts better get ready. He's gonna he's gonna break out. He's gonna do all that stuff, catch touchdowns." Through 4 weeks, it's the same old, same old. But he is looking for him. He just can't get open. Just can't catch the ball. It's just not working, And for Pitts to be such a unicorn, to be so skilled, it's just not panning out. It's just not. So it's tough for me, man. I love Kyle Pitts, the idea, the player, the potential, but through 3-4 years now, good gracious, man, nothing has came of it. Nothing. So through 4 years, he's had 7 touchdowns. Like, dog. Like, come on, dog. I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, we can turn it back on or turn it on in general. We'll see. But as of right now, it's looking tough. It is looking tough for us Falcons fans and Kyle Pitts. We're 2-2 right now. We'll see what happens. But right now, Pitts isn't doing too much for us. Tough, man. Depressing is depressing. Excuse me, depressing. Talk more clearly. Tired from work, excuse me. Another guy, and this is the guy I mentioned earlier, the Cleveland Browns player, Amari Cooper. He had a couple calls back, especially yesterday versus the Raiders. Like I said, a big catch for a touchdown for 50, 60, 70 yards, something like that. So they could have changed the narrative a little bit. But as of right now, it was taken away from by a phantom holding call. But as of right now, 16 catches, 148 yards, 9 per catch, longest 24, and touchdowns 2. But he just hasn't been on point this year. You know, you can pull up or you can make a low lights reel this year of Amari Cooper. Deshaun Watson yesterday for the Browns played well. They really did. But that one pick he threw to Amari Cooper, all on Cooper. Went Cooper's hands, missed it, or it went through his hands, hit his chest plate or something, ball popped in the air, pick. I mean, what else can you do? The ball was on the money, and he just hasn't looked sharp this year, you know, and that's something that's concerning. Maybe the trade rumors kind of got to his head or just made him not want to play for the Browns anymore. I'm not quite sure because he was, supposed to be in the Brandon Ayuk trade, him going to the Niners, Ayuk going to the Browns, didn't pan out obviously. Ayuk ended up getting paid, but I don't know if Cooper's head is still there full time. So tough showing by Cooper this year so far. Hopefully, if he is traded, it kind of reunites him and gets him more energized. But right now, he's looking just flat out there for me, not sharp. You know, the Browns offense kind of clunky too with Deshaun Watson not playing great consistent or playing good consistently. So it's tough, but from what we've seen from Cooper, he hasn't looked sharp this year. And I wonder if that's the trade rumors getting to him a little bit. Last on this list, a guy I just mentioned, Brandon Ayuk. He got paid, got the big money, and so far he is a no-show. Through 4 games, 13 catches, 167 yards, 12 yards per catch, 38 was the longest yards for a reception, and then no touchdowns. Not good. Juwan Jennings has been playing fantastic. Debo, when he was healthy, had some good burn. Mason has got some burn for CMC. Kittle went off yesterday versus who was it? Niners versus I forgot who they played yesterday. Patriots. Patriots. Kittle played fairly well. Good catch. A great catch over 3 guys yesterday. But Ayuk has not seemed to get on board with chemistry and with the offense yet. So I'm sure it'll turn around for him. Like I said he was whining about the money and whining about getting paid, which he should have. You know, everybody wants to get paid. I respect it, but when you going on do the things that he was doing, you expect to be better. And I know no training camp and all that stuff. It definitely hurt, but did it hurt this much? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. But these guys on this list: Garrett Wilson, Gabe Davis, Bryce Huff, Kyle Pitts, Amari Cooper, and Brandon Ayuk. They are on my underperformed list so far. And like I said, through only 4 weeks, I'll probably come back in the season, maybe midway through. Maybe we'll see. But definitely in the season if I don't forget and rehash my list for the full season. I also add in some linemen. I didn't really care to add in linemen this early. I could have, but it's a skill players league. I'm a former lineman myself, but it's a skill players league. Might as well just have fun with it and have some bigger name guys as far as the skill player goes. But I will add linemen and more defense. Well, I have no defensive guy. I have one defensive guy, and that's Bryce Huff. But there are other guys as well. But I make a bigger list and a more deeper list when the season ends, and I'll give you probably 25 guys, maybe. We'll see. But definitely linemen and more defensive guys will be on the list. And some of these guys, or some guys that could be on the list, I left off because of injuries to the quarterback, or injuries to themselves, or injury to the O line, and it's tough. But these guys on this list are not really battling through those things. Kyle Pitts, our QB, Kirk Cousins has been healthy. The defense for the Eagles has been okay at moments. Gabe Davis, Trevor Lawrence has been there. Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers has been there. Brandon Ayuk, everyone's been hurt except for Bryce Purdy. And the line been pretty good. Cooper, Deshaun Watson up and down, but when the balls were thrown to him in a good fashion, it didn't really pan out in the Browns' favor a lot of the times. So those things like that are they're something always hampers a player or a team or in their production. But these guys on this list don't really have that as of right now. So that's why they're on this list and some guys aren't. But that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.